Okay, everybody. So I've watched the protests at Dover so far, and the ones over in France, and I don't know. My take on it was that there wasn't that many that turned up at either. I kind of expected that myself. Kind of expected it to be quite low, and the turnout to be quite low. It looked a bit piss poor, really, didn't it? I felt a bit sorry for the people that did turn up, because at the end of the day, people have gone out of those people have gone out of their way to go there. But I noticed at Dover there was quite a few auditors, and I noticed that on the beaches of France there was just like an handful of men. I mean, it's not exactly what I expected. I don't know what I expected really, but yeah, it was all a bit bizarre. All a bit bizarre. Finding it very, very very strange what they thought that they were. Oh, hi Jojo, I need to give you your modship, and Lynn. Let me go over and sort that out. This is only my channel where I only talk, and I might have an open panel, but today I'm not going to bother having an open panel. This is just my thoughts. A bit later I will do a proper review over on my main channel, but I just want to get some viewing figures up on this channel, to be quite honest. So let me go to settings and get these. Oh, actually I can do it the other way, can't I? Close. Right, let's get you modded up. So yeah, I don't know about you lot, but I just thought it looked a bit, not of a shambles. It didn't. I mean, Dover looked better than what actually turned up in France. I don't think it looked, I don't want to say shambles, but it did look sporadic. Let me put it that way. I know a lot of people said not a lot of people were going to turn up, and it looks like that they were right. Not a lot of people did turn up. Now, I think that's for two reasons. Number one, I think because the place had already closed down. Like I told people, it was shutting down. And number two, because it was being led by Danny Tomo, and people were a little bit worried about, whether they were going to be led into trouble or not. I think those were the two things that held people back. And it did seem quite pointless. More auditors than protests in Dover, but they did close the port. As I understand it was already closed anyway, UK Blue. I mean, they shut it down 2 days ago. But having said that, was it because they feared this protest? And if it was, then it was a success, wasn't it? If it was because they thought, because of the pressure or what they thought was going to happen, then it was a success. But I don't know, it's all a bit strange at the moment. The things I'm watching are all a bit strange. When things go on and you're not in the full know and you don't know what's happening, and it all just, but yeah, there were a lot of auditors there. I see that CP was there. Blacklist said, yeah, if you haven't got the actual backing to make a big statement, don't do it. You should have known. Yeah, it was a bit of a flop, I think. And I'm not trying to put these people down, because they did go out of their way to try and make a stand. And even if it's only one voice singing in the darkness, Jojo said Big Nose was there too, Dukes. Yeah, do you know that the other day over on another channel, LTG was on there arguing with that Luke. It was a very bizarre confrontation. I don't know what that's all about, and I don't know why the Big Nose of London is suddenly trying to make themselves important. Deb says, I think Crowborough will be massive tomorrow. Yeah, Crowborough will be massive. Look, I'm pleased for Crowborough that they've got such a turnout and that they're a community that stand together and everything else. I think that's a good thing. And I think we all need to push in the right direction. But the irony of the fact that these people are middle class hasn't passed me by. And the fact that when it's written up in the newspapers, the sensitivities towards these people seems to be more compassionate because they're middle class than when it was the working class that was suffering. So, yeah, that does niggle me a little bit. Deb said coppers arrested 2 grandparents there today. Well, I think there's going to be more and more arrests going on. We live under a dictatorship. Starmer, it almost rolls off your lips like Stalin, doesn't it? Yeah. Lynn said they've still got more going over to Dover. Yeah, apparently, now I heard through the grapevine, and I don't know if this is true, that these guys are going to be staying over tonight and that there might be more protests tomorrow in France. I don't know how true that is, and it could be just whispers that turn out not to be true. But if that is true, then maybe it'll be more eventful tomorrow. I don't know. I don't know what I expected, really. But I don't know. I expected them to sort of like push the barriers. I don't mean literally the barriers, but I mean just like push at the limits of what you can do. But I haven't really seen that. It was a bit lackluster, unfortunately. And I'm not trying to discredit anybody, because I think anybody that actually gets off their chair to actually stand up and be vocal and show their face, it's just all sad, really. It's sad. And I do think there needs to be a very strong pushback. I think that'll probably come in May with the UTK event. But, yeah, it was all very sad, I thought. Hi-Ho said, I honestly thought it would be a bigger event than what it was. Yeah. Well, look, there's one person that most people listen to that's got massive pulling power, and that's Tommy Robinson. Whether the ethno-nationalists like it or not, that's the truth. And it is the centre ground that is the people that really holding on to the momentum. And I do think that a lot of these fringe groups are just other factions that want to be pushing in the same direction, but at the same time want to be recognised in their own sort of like limelight, if you know what I mean. I agree, UK Blue. I do think the timing of the fallout with the Raise the Colours lot didn't help. I do agree that didn't help. And all the talk of missing money again and all the slandering that went on. But I did think that it was going to be bigger than what it was. That's why I pulled myself away from it a bit, to be honest. All the bickering and arguing and the fact that there are people that have gone into the alternate in that I think are not there for the right reason. And so I can't give them my support and review them. You know, there are people that I think are just doing it, jumping on the bandwagon. And when the trend becomes something else, they'll fuck off. I'm not going to name those people, but obviously it's not AY, it's not BB, it's not Mystic Media. Those people are good guys. But yeah, there's certain auditors that I just don't. They're not my kettle of fish. Let me put it that way. Blacklist said, yeah, Danny doesn't have Tommy's pull. It's evident, isn't it? But I wish him well for his call. So, yeah, look, I wish Danny well. I wish any patriot that's doing anything, any of those people that turned up, you've got to give them credit for turning up. That's one thing I will always say. Those people are not in it for clicks or views or money or anything. Most of those people are just patriots that are turning up and holding up a flag and showing their disappointment of what's happening with the country. But I was expecting a bit more than what we got. You know, I was expecting a bit more than what we got. Lynn said he did try, and that's all anyone can do. Yeah. But I did say beforehand that if they do something really good and push the boat out, if you know what, as a turn of phrase, they'll be heroes. And if it isn't that successful, that many people will probably criticise it and say it wasn't worth it. And I do fear that that's probably what's going to happen. You know, it's going to be disheartening. It's going to demotivate people. And I just wish that it had been better than it was. I think, to be fair, unless something occurs tomorrow, that Dover was actually better than France. Thank God, because in France they were restrained. You know, there wasn't much that they could really do within the law. I mean, just standing on the beach holding up a flag really doesn't do much, does it? It doesn't. You know, there wasn't even anything activisty about it. It wasn't like they sailed a boat out and done it, or, you know, it was just all standing, just let's go down to a beach and open a flag. I mean, what's that going to do? That ain't going to help, is it? I don't think so anyway, and I don't mean that in a nasty way, but it was a bit pointless in my opinion. Bit pointless, but we'll wait and see if tomorrow brings anything different. You know, I'm glad that no one got arrested though. I'm glad that no one's got hurt. I'm glad that there wasn't no fighting. I'm glad that all the negative things that a lot of people said could happen didn't happen, so that's good. You know, UK Blue says he won't be able to get the dog out there. He's going to be off his feet for 8 months after an operation. Oh, well, good luck with your operation, UK Blue. You know, it's all go, isn't it? I think what's been interesting in the last couple of days has been Sarah White's expose. I think that's something to keep your eye on. I think that expose is going to blow up into a bit more with that Layla Cullingham. Yeah, I mean, I did see that there was a bit of an argument between Mike Graham and Paul Thorpe, a bit backwards and forwards there. You know, I did find that funny. Oh, Donna, I need to give you a spanner as well, don't I? Where's Donna? I listened to a couple of Babs streams yesterday. They made me laugh. Babs is always straight and up front, isn't she? The way that they call her a liar is remarkable, considering that she don't take no bullshit. She just says what she thinks. Yeah, she is funny. But I do wish that she would learn to ignore the trolls. But then it takes a lot to ignore the trolls and move away from them, you know. And when the trolls get bored of not being able to say things to upset you, you know, your numbers go down, and maybe that's what people think. So, I don't know. Whereas me, I want quality or quantity. Yeah, quality over quantity now. You know, there's a lot of shit talkers, a lot of argumentative people, and a lot of people that don't even get off their armchair but think that they can be sofa drivers. You know, you've heard of sofa serving, but these are sofa drivers. They think that they can drive the calls, but they don't actually fucking do anything themselves. And I've had enough of talking to them and all. Seriously, you know. I'm still not over the shock of finding out that so many people that were in the movement wanted to minimise what DJE did. You know, I'm still not over that shock yet. You know, I find it absolutely disgusting. And I'm not a feminazi. I'm not someone that doesn't see that rights have been taken away from men and men have become demasculated and all that stuff. But yeah, that was a shocker for me. Haters are going to hate, and we have some pond life haters. Yeah, we do. But I think that I've managed to clear out most of the people that I don't really want around. And hopefully we can build upon a stable foundation rather than nutcases. You know, I'd rather have a community of 30 people that are decent, than to have people around me that are weird. And I've had enough of the weirdos. You know, I really have. And I know that some people are going to say that that's me being harsh. And I know that some people are going to think that I'm referring to them. Well, if the cap fits, wear it, you know. I haven't said what person is the weirdo and which one isn't. But I think, you know, people can make up their own minds. But that's my opinion. There are some weirdos that I just want to remove myself from. Dupes said, Jojo says, Dupes, me and Lynn get blamed for so much and we don't have control over any of it. Laugh out loud. Look, I know that, Jojo. They've used me as a scapegoat for years. You know, I don't think it's weird to believe that demons exist. I think there's a lot of religious people that believe that demons exist. That's not the kind of weird thought I'm talking about. I'm talking about minimising sexual acts and saying that somebody who's a definitive sexual predator isn't. For me, that was it. That was it, you know. And I've put my point across. I've said how I feel. I've sorted it out. There's no arguments going backwards and forwards because I do appreciate that everybody is allowed to have their own opinion. But I'm afraid that there's too many people that now when I see them, I am always at the back of my mind judging them for that. So until I've calmed down for that, I can't engage. I can't. I don't even want to sit on a panel with people that think that what DJE did was okay. You know, it reminds me of Fat Dan all over again. You know, where you're going on a panel and you have to put your own personal beliefs and reservations about someone aside because hosts want people on that are not so good. Debla said, to me, it seems DJE is being used as a distraction. He doesn't deserve the attention he's getting, but it's working. What do you mean by that? I think he does deserve the attention he's getting for being a wrong un. I think he needs to be called out and removed. And I don't think that enough people have understood just how bad he is. I don't know what distraction you mean from Deborah, if you could explain that. What is it you think we're taking our eyes off the ball for? Yeah, I think it's disgusting that people actually defend that behaviour. But I don't think Deborah was defending his behaviour. I think she was just saying it was a distraction, but I don't understand a distraction from what. Exactly, Louise. Opposing opinions is one thing, but actual charged wrong-uns is something else. I agree. And that's what I couldn't get my head around. It's not like it was up for debate, in my opinion. Yeah, and that's the other thing that I couldn't get my head around, Jojo. That when I say that, when I say people that still watch him, if they're aware of what he's done, are vile. You know, the argument that was being brought forward by several people, I'm not going to name people because everyone's allowed to have their opinion, and it's not, I don't want to make this like a personal backwards and forwards. It's just that I'm finding it hard to get my head around that people would have tried and did try to gaslight me into believing that that is a wrong thing, that basically when I make the statement that people who still watch him have got to be vile or don't have any morals or stuff, if they're aware of what he's done, I mean, let's be fair, there might be people who sub to him that are not aware of what he's done, right? So you can't just make a sweeping judgment, but the ones that are aware, who have been around and, you know, still go over there and then come and write in your side chats and other people's side chats that you're weird for thinking that people who go and watch it are vile when it's only YouTube. I just think, no. I don't know what's happened with your mind or how your mind works, but no. I don't think like that, and I can never think like that. I think it's wrong to go over there. I also think I want the police to do something. So I do think that we have to keep talking, you know. Yeah, those watching him are enabling a sicko. I agree with you. But also, it wasn't just that. What happened was, like a couple of days later, I went onto a panel, and there were people on there that I like and get on with who are decent, but they were talking about another fella, right? Okay, I'm just gonna put it out there, right? So they were talking about some fella called Northern King, right? I don't know him. I can't make judgments on this bloke because I don't know him. And so I have to be very careful here because it could all just be lies. But the allegations were that on this channel, there was evidence provided and shown that this man was writing weird text messages to a female that he was supposed to have been in a relationship with. Okay? And whilst it's not indicative that the man has actually done anything with animals, which is what was being suggested in the messages, the perverseness of those messages was quite disturbing and alarming. Well, for someone like me anyway. And the fact that people were just sort of like, oh yeah, well, if you get upset by that, you know, maybe just don't go over there. Oh, it's only text messages. Oh, it's this, that and the other. Whilst I get that no actual crimes have actually been committed, no harming of animals has actually taken place, the perverseness for me was just like, no, this is too much. This is filth. This is filth. How many more of these filthy bastards have I got to listen to or put up with on panels? How many of them? And how many of them who come across as normal actually don't care about this kind of stuff? Don't set standards. And it was that kind of, that was, DJ was the awakening. But the straw that broke the camel's back was hearing about a fella that I've never even been on his channel. Never been on that channel. But I do know that there's also a person from our side that absolutely adored that Northern King, used to go on about him a lot, and also has written stuff like, oh yeah, Jupiter thinks that people who go over to DJE's channel are vile. It's only YouTube, grow up. And I'm looking and thinking, you're filth as well, especially when I know some of the things that you've also done. And for people to want to associate with, I'm just, no. Debla said he's a dog nonce. I don't know if that's that. I don't know if he actually is. I only heard the story. So I'm going to tell you what I heard. I heard that he was writing text messages in a lewd way to this woman that he was supposed to be having an online relationship with, alluding to wanting to be sucked off or oral sex with animals, and wanting the girl to engage with certain stuff. And I was just like, nah. Not only is that humiliating and disgusting, yeah, weird and strange, but the fact that some people were sort of like laughing at the, because it was a woman who told me, laughing at the woman who was outraged about it, as if, you know, all right, yeah, it's going over the top, and making kind of jokes about it. And I can understand you can joke about anything, right? So I do know it was a joke. I'm not going to judge people on jokes. I think that jokes, even if they're really disgusting and dark humour and everything, everybody's got a right to have their own sense of humour. So that I'm not making judgments on. But it was just the way that it, I don't know. How can I put it? I felt like to some people it was normal. That's the feeling I got. Oh, well, it's YouTube. That's normal. You get people like that. Just accept it. Move on. And nah, not for me. UK Blue says, I got sacked 12 years ago because I punched a perv for going to a schoolgirl. Yeah, a splitter. Yeah, I agree. UK Blue, that is insulting. Wee man, I'm talking about somebody called Northern King. I don't know who he is. I don't want to know who he is by the sound of it. Yeah, I'm keeping well away from it. I don't want to be around any of it. I don't want to listen to it. I've heard, in the 7 years I've been on here, I've heard so much filth. And I know I can laugh and joke sometimes, you know, like when I say, oh, right, that's it, I'm going to end my stream, I'm going to go up and get my leg over, or I'm going to go up and jump at a guitar, right? And people fake outrage and go, oh, that's really filthy, it's disgusting, how dare you say that? Meanwhile, they're tolerating real filth. And yeah, I've had enough of it. I've been put in positions where I've had to sit on channels with people that I don't approve of because other people approve of them, and enough is enough. Enough is enough. Exactly, Donna. Enough is enough. And whilst I like going on to panels and having political discussions and talking to different people, and the actual hosts themselves are not always bad people, No, because there is no level of control of what's going on to certain channels. I'm just like, and you can't tell a channel host who to have on and who not to have on. You know what I mean? You can't. And I just, I mean, I don't have the right to do that, and I would never do that. But at the end of the day, you're lowering your levels every time. No, wee man, apparently this one is really, really disgusting. And they've got all the evidence as well. They've got all the text messages and stuff, apparently. I don't know. I've not seen it. Don't want to see it. But it was enough for me to go, nah, fuck that. I've seen all this kind of thing over this side when we had all this stuff when they were saying that Fat Dan said this and Fat Dan said that. And I didn't want to hear about it because I don't like all that stuff, right? And then I got branded as somebody that was complicit because I didn't want to hear about it, and because other channel hosts forced me to have to. Oh no, you got to we're letting him up. You know, he's being bullied and it's all this, that, and the other. And no, I don't even. You know, it took ages to fucking. Oh. It was just disgusting. All that was disgusting. And then, yeah, Deborah. And when I think back to even that individual, right? Because I don't really want to use names all the time because all it does is end up with you going backwards and forwards with people. What? But even that individual, I can remember sitting on reels and for no reason at all, nothing to do with me, he turned up and said, Jupiter, listen to this, and then started reading out a statement that had absolute filth in it. Absolute filth in it. You know? If I was in the real world and there was a bloke talking that kind of filth to me, he would have got a fucking slap, a kick up the bollocks, and I'd have marched off. You know? And you know, you have to sit there and try and be reasonable and try to fucking, I don't know, say, oh, well, all right, I'm going to make allowances because they might not have meant it and they might be a bit backward or they've got mental illness. And I've had enough of that as well. I've had enough of that. And I've had enough of people telling me that when I look, I know there's fake outrage, right? I know lots of people get fake outrage, right? And I know people's outrage sometimes is biased by who they're friends with, right? We've all done it. I agree. We've all done it. And it's something that I learned about myself on here, you know, how you can get drawn into group politics and everything else and fucking sit there and allow stuff to be said that you know is an exaggeration or a fucking out of context thing, but because it's somebody you're not getting on with, you don't really fucking care, right? I get it. I understand that, but for me, and I'm not trying to be a fucking Karen or be untowardly outraged. I've just had enough of listening to filth. Yeah, Donna. And I don't care if people are going to get offended on here and go, she goes over the top and she's making out that she's fucking pure and this. No, I'm not. I understand people can have a laugh and joke about anything. I understand that there's probably an avenue for a lot of jokes to take the piss out of the bloke. You know, that doesn't bother me at all. But people who are minimalising all the time, I've had enough of it now. I've had enough. You know, and you get to a stage where you don't know who to believe either. And so unless I know these people in the real world, or I would sit down with these people in the real world, I don't want to talk to them. If I would sit down and not be afraid to meet you up in the real world and have a coffee, then that's fine. But if I would be unsure about even wanting to talk to you, then why am I fucking talking to you online? You know? That's the way I feel about it now. And I'd rather just sit here on my own. Have 5 people in here. I think I'd rather have a stream where just 5 people come in and we're boring. Orion says, all right, dupes, relax. I can't relax, though. I really haven't got over it yet, Orion. I haven't got over it. I think it was just the last straw after sitting here and watching years and years of filth. You know? And I have listened and heard some filth, and some of it has been false. Some of it's been false. I'm not talking about politics. This isn't about politics, Dean. This isn't about any particular individuals, really. This is about me. The politics side of it, I'm still going to review it. I'm still going to be there supporting decent people like BB, AY, Tommy Robinson, all of Tommy's team, Ginger Tony, Cara, you know, Kaz, all those kind of people that are decent. I've got no problem with, and I'll still be there to support kind of stuff. But the other stuff, nah. Nah. I'm not gonna drop my morals and sit around people that are disgusting just because you want numbers. No, that ain't the way I can be. It ain't. I've had enough of it. Over the years, I've had to listen to people taking pictures of people in stockings, or tying people up with stockings. The stories that went with anal fucking things up their bum, and the stories to do with that. I've heard stories to do with people apparently taking pictures of their cocks and this and sending them to randoms. People taking pictures of their arsehole, sending them to randoms. People doing disgusting sexual acts that turned out to not be true. I've had to listen to people make up fantasists, make up stories that they've got, that they were in groups and they had trolls sending them thousands and thousands of pictures to do with porn and child abuse and how they've reported it to the police. I've had people drop shit in Discord that's absolutely disgusting. I've had people fucking tell me that I'm supposed to actively get involved in chasing someone around the YouTube because they believe that they're Nancy, while at the same time they sit in groups laughing with him. I can't cope with it. I can't cope with it. It's too much. Filth. It's filth. And I'm not a prude. I'm not a prude. I've had 8 kids, for fuck's sake. I think that's plainly obvious. You know? You don't get 8 kids through fucking being against sex. But there's just stuff that I don't... It's below me. It's below me. I dropped my levels. And that Northern King was the last thing. It was the last thing. It was like, what the fuck? What the actual fuck? You know? And don't get me wrong, there's probably people still sub to him now. Watching it all going on. Loving it all. Oh, and let's not forget that Nick Berry fella that people platformed so that they could talk to him. Was it Nick Berry or whatever his name was? Yeah, Dean, I will definitely meet up with you when we do the UTK. If I see you, I'm more than willing to talk to anyone and meet up with people and whatnot. But yeah, I'm done. I'm done. Well, thank God. I hope he has deleted his channel, CT. It was filth, from what I heard. Absolute filth. But that's what I mean, Deborah. I've had to put up listening to all these stories. And I know one of them you can laugh at. But it's getting a bit common now, isn't it? It's getting a bit much now. All over the place. You know? And whilst I'm all up for people doing whatever they want to do in their bedroom, yeah? I don't mean with animals, by the way, lawful stuff. You know? I don't care if people want to swing off a fucking wardrobe, dress up as Tarzan, whatever they do in the bedroom. I just don't want to hear about it. I come on here to talk politics, not to listen to people talking shit and filth. And the fact that so many people on here want to talk the shit and filth does me head in. I mean, just because I've got a Cockney accent and because I would be classed as working class doesn't mean that I like all that smut, because I don't. You know, I've been trolled on here for telling people I want my own. Listen, I don't want to listen to it. You're mind graping me. And then I got trolled saying that I was calling people a fucking rapist. No, I'm telling you, have a bit of respect around me. You know, even when you say it nicely, listen, I don't really like all that. Don't go. They think it's funny. It's not fucking funny. I don't find it funny. Exactly, Dean. Animals. That one was involved with animals. Fucking mental. Animals and fucking, you know. It was just too much. It happened too soon together. All of it. You had the big DJE argument and everything that come out from that, and then just as that settles down, you hear that there's some northerner that wants his girlfriend to do things with dogs. Nah. Can't cope. That's it. Final. Enough. I agree with you, Anne Robinson. I do agree with you. People need to be punished. And then we've got a country full of perverts that no one wants to do anything about. It's mental. It's mental. You know, I've heard too much of it. The excuses, all of it. The way that some of the men have spoken to women on here. All of it. The disrespect. It's filth. And don't get me wrong, I'm not perfect. I'm not sitting here saying I'm perfect. I know I've lost my temper and said some awful stuff to people who have been attacking me. Maybe I did go too far on occasions. I'm not perfect. But I never went looking for it. These people all go looking for it. They love it. Absolutely love it. Of course, Donna. And then there is the grooming and the actual paedophiles in high society. And the fucking Satanists. It's all too much. You know, when they say that one of the problems is there's a lot of people in this world that can't cope with the levels of evil that are when they find out about it. I'm probably one of them. I admit it. You know. Yeah, yeah. Oh, Dean, that other channel is going to be a good channel. It's going to be reviews all the time. It's only going to be reviews. Over here will be just me talking, and sometimes opening up a panel if I think it's someone worth coming up. And then I've got what I call my backup channel, that basically anything goes can go on there. But you know, it's just mental, honestly. And I think that's the other part of the problem as well. Because I've got a funny sense of humour and a dark sense of humour, when people have been nutcases, I've been laughing because they're fucking nuts. When actually, really, I should have just moved away from them more. Thank you, Dean. I think what it is I just need a break from all the weirdos. That's what I think it is. I just honestly, it takes it out of you after a while, and to hear all these fucking dirty stories and you know, it's just too much. There was a time about 7-8 years ago where there were so many sexual stories in the news. I remember it when I used to watch the news. That I got to a point where wherever I went, I was thinking, are you one? Are you one? Are you one? Are you one? I don't want to get to that point again. I don't. Yeah, I'm going to look at Tartarian. I'm going to look at some of that stuff. That's why I'm sort of like, I'm a bit later. I'll probably go on my Jupiter affiliated a bit later. Well, my old one. It's a new name for that channel on my review channel, and I'll probably review the protests a little bit. But I don't know. I might not. I'm just not feeling it at the moment. Right, James, I never used to think that they should bring back the death penalty, but if we had a government that I believe wouldn't use it nefariously, yes. Unfortunately, we're in a situation where if we brought back the death penalty, it'll probably be the right-thinking people that are going to get hung because they speak up against things that are disgusting. And that's the other problem that I got. I know there's plenty of other people out there that can see what I see, but I just feel like there's evil everywhere at the moment. Seriously, I just think there's evil everywhere at the moment. If they're not trying to fucking blow you up or take over your country, you've got another set that are trying to get hold of your kids. Then you've got the others that are trying to traffic kids in. Then you've got the government that want to put you away if you say the wrong thing. It's all just mental. Yeah, that's what I think, wee man. I just have sensible people over here. People that, they don't have to be yes men to me. They don't have to agree with everything I say, but at least can respect me in the way that they say it. You know, I'd rather have someone that can say to me, Dupes, I think you're a bit wrong now, than someone who's going to come in here and go over the top, start an argument, make it massive, can't bothered. And then I find out they're a dirty pervert themselves. Mental. What's this, Mickey? You got a new girlfriend? Good luck, mate. Got a rich new girlfriend. Are you trying to do a thriller? I hope you're not trying to do a thriller. You know? He's another one, isn't he? Says fucking loads of shit stuff. And the thing is, in a way, I've done it myself. Because back in the beginning, when I first met some of these people, and they've done bad stuff or done horrid stuff, I've kind of listened to the excuses of some people. Oh, yeah, but he's got mental illness. Oh, yeah, but that one's funny. He is funny. He don't mean it. He's only trolling. It's just a persona. Oh, yeah, no, that one don't mean it either. You know, he's been bullied at school and he's got... I've listened to all this shit. You know? Listened to it all. Allowed people to fucking cajole me into fucking a false sense of belief. And really, I should have just stayed with myself. That's what I should have done. I'm listening to some of my streams that I've got rid of a load now. Got rid of them. Can't even be bothered. Don't even want to hear some of people's voices. Don't even want to hear them. Seriously. All the game playing, the bitchiness, the fucking excuses that they make for being nasty. No, don't want to listen to it. I'm past my tether now. Past it. Either pull up or fuck off. Literally. Mickey, you are funny. That man hates me. He's another one who's a nutcase. That's another one. People getting obsessed with me for no reason at fucking all. Won't grow up. I've lost a lot of weight, Mickey, and I intend to lose more. Even if I am fucking... I'm eating now, but even if I am sort of like eating healthier and eating fucking rabbit food and stuff. Yeah, but these people, they build up a persona that's not true of people to knock them down. And whilst I'm strong enough to sort of sit here and go, yeah, well, it don't matter. They don't know me in the real world, so who gives a fuck? And it don't matter. Seriously. At the same time, who are these fucking people? Little nobodies. Mel said she went to Dover today to get footage. It was dreadful. It's the worst turnout she's ever seen. Yeah, I was just saying, Mel, that I expected it to be. I didn't expect a big turnout, but I honestly expected it to be more than what it was. But I do think the fact that the government said that they were closing it 2 days ago probably has something to do with it. Plus the fact we all know what happened outside Parliament, and I think a lot of people are not ever going to forget that. Plus all the arguing that happened around the same time didn't help, with the fallouts and everything. But yeah, I think it was a bit of a flop, a bit of a waste. Mark said, my missus has been on a diet for 6 weeks. No alcohol, no sweets, no cake, no potatoes or pasta. And she's not lost a single ounce. Right, that means that she's eating on the quiet somewhere, Mark. You can't do it for 6 weeks and not lose at least 1 ounce. Kerr said the Port Authority worked with the police to close the border to put people off. But, yeah. I mean, I will review the footage later, Mel. I'm going to go on my other channel and review BB's footage. There might still have been stuff there worth looking at. And I see that someone was going to get arrested or something on Regis. I'll have a little look at that. But even in France, the people just standing there on the fucking beach just looked silly, didn't they? I just think that it wasn't worth doing. If you're not gonna go in hard and big, there's no point. And that'd be clipped, wouldn't it? But you know what I mean. Not in that sense. Talking about protests and stuff. If you're not going to do it, if you're not going to do something that's going to make an impact, it's hardly worth doing. Although I don't want to knock the people that did go, because I think the people that did go deserve praise for showing up when others didn't. But Mel said, UK Blue, no, not for me. I was just observing, really. I felt sorry for people who had travelled. Well, yeah, that as well. That as well. I know, menopause weight. That's another thing, Mark. How old is she? She's going through the menopause. It's probably the worst time to start a diet. You're fighting a lost cause, isn't you? The things us women go through. I used to have I know people don't believe me, but that's up to them. I couldn't give a shit, to be honest. Believe me or don't believe me, whatever. But I used to, when I met Hector, I was about size 10. Then I had another couple of kids and I got back down to a size 14, which is quite big, but I'm tall, so it wasn't big, if you know what I mean. And then hit the menopause and the bottom half of me just went like a blancmange. Not joking. And the other thing that women don't talk about a lot, right, is your boobs start going mad. They start growing again. You have a second spurt. When you go through the menopause, they go mental. Yeah, that's probably what it is then, Mark. She's fighting it at the same time. It's harder. Oh, sorry, Amph. Let me give you your modship over here as well. No, I was just talking about the protests and how it was a bit lackluster. I'm going to review them on my other channel a bit later, but I'm trying to build this channel up with views and stuff as well. Oh my God, what's he done now? What's this that you're saying? What's he done now? There's a lot of them doing stupid stuff. There's one. I mean, if you can guess the name, you can guess the name and write it in the side chat. But there's one that's done two things now where he should have called the police for the safety of other people, and he's fucked off and walked off, and not even bothered filming stuff to make sure that if there is victims, that they're being looked after. Twice. Once a woman was sitting in a room, looked like she'd been kidnapped. I mean, that was quite chilling and disturbing. Fucked off. Didn't do nothing. Second time, it looked like someone was going to get a pasting by a group of others. Fucked off. Didn't do nothing. Can't believe it. I mean, you go from one extreme to the other with it, some of these auditors. You've got some that provoke trouble just so that they can film it. And then you've got others that walk up to something and should really be filming stuff and making sure people are all right, and they fucking ignore it. You know? So James said, I have some breaking news if you're in Dover. In the next few days, there are a bus full of African people coming in from Calais to Dover. 3 buses full. This is what James is saying. James claims that he works in France. I don't know if he's winding us up so everybody goes down there and waits for it or not. You know? Mel said, I went through the menopause at 42. Physically, I'm sane, but it affected me mentally. Yeah, menopause is not that easy, you know. Not as far as I know. The last video that Danny Tomo done, he was just standing on the beach with about 6 other fellas waving flags. That was it. Wasn't a bad video, but I'm going to wait until later because there might be more stuff come out before I do my review. So I'll do my review about... I'll probably do a review about 9 o'clock because it's coming up to 8 o'clock now. So about 9 o'clock, I'll be on 9:30. I'll go on to my review channel and review it. Yeah, there you go, Joe. You guessed it. DP's recent video is an example of pub bouncers versus hotel security. They go hands on real fast. I haven't seen it, so I don't know exactly what he'd done. But if he got chucked out of a pub, what did he do to get chucked out? He must have done something bad. Mickey said, what, we got African auditors. James said, I'm not into messing people about. It's not for me. It's the truth. Lowe said peri peri chicken is nice. That's random. It is nice, but that's random. Where did that come from, Mickey? Huh? Oh, God. Wonder what he did in the toilets, because didn't he buy a drink, though? Because some pubs, they don't, unless you're a paying customer, you can't use their toilets, can you? Oh, okay, CT. Oh, my God, they proper manhandled him. Bloody hell. Well, if they've assaulted him, that's out of order. I don't think anyone should get assaulted for nothing. Even if I don't particularly like the way that people go about themselves, you know. But if they provoke it by being arsey and all that stuff, you know, sometimes people ask for it, didn't they? Lowell said Roy is funny. Oh, look, I find Roy funny. I also think that some things, when he talks about the protests and that, he's correct on some of the stuff that he says. Does he? Yeah, I'm going to watch it later. I'll do it on my other one, the big one. Does he? Does Roy bullshit and exaggerate? Yeah, he does, but he, you know, it's mental. This is what I mean, right? This is the thing that I started seeing as well. So they all say that Roy said A, B, C, and D, and they're all outraged and they don't like him because of it, this, that, and the other, right? And basically trying to manipulate me, or this is how I felt anyway, into not liking Roy, yeah, or talking to him, when there's absolutely no fucking proof at all, yeah? Meanwhile, there is proof on DJE. There is text messages of this Northern King, but everyone's minimalising it. I'm like, nah, I can't get it. I don't understand it. You know? When there's evidence, you want to minimalise, and when there ain't evidence, people want to fucking try and make out that it's the worst crime that's ever happened in the world. Nah. Yeah, I would agree with that, hi-ho. I think sometimes when he comes on, when he's had quite a few, he gets verbal diarrhea, he overtalks, but I don't think he's essentially a bad person. Yeah, Irish, from what I'm hearing, people are saying that he was supposed to have said that he did this, that, and the other, but no one's actually showed me the proof. I believe something was said, but where I know what these channels are like, until I see something in context, I can't make a judgment. But there's no proof that it actually happened in the real world. That's what I'm talking about. And because he embellishes, and he's very flamboyant with his embellishes, and because he wants to fit in sometimes, and because he thinks, that's what these kind of people, and let's be honest about it, there are some people that are over that side that do seem to allow some kind of behaviours, and maybe he thought he had to say shit, Yeah, he's somebody who wants to be involved, not a bad person. Right, Irish Flame said, I can show you it. He said his girlfriend hit him and he hit her back. So he didn't beat her up. He didn't beat her up like they're saying then. That's mental. If that's what it was, that's mental. Because I don't think anyone should be hitting anyone. But at the end of the day, I'm also the kind of woman that believes that if you punch someone and you're female, that a man's got a right, and I know a lot of men don't agree with me on this. I know they don't, and a lot of women. But I think a man's got a right to use reasonable force to get themselves out of danger, because women can be fucking mental if they know that a man is not going to hit them back. They can be mental. Jojo said Irish, he said that for a reason. He was feeding trolls to find out who was causing shit. Well, that's certainly not the way that they've put it out, Irish Flame. And I don't, but when I keep asking them for proof, there is none. There's no proof in the real world. I know that for sure. And then when it comes to where we must have said something silly, I want to see the context. And now you've given me the context. That's made me even more annoyed. Yeah, some of the Iranian footage is decent that Roy's done. And Roy's been on the Iranian footage with Iraq and all that for a very long time. So, yeah, him and John. So, yeah, they've done some good footage on that. I agree with that, Donna. If you can't take it, don't give it. Now, don't get me wrong. If a woman slaps a bloke and then the man fucking slaps her back, gets her by the throat, drops her on the floor, fucking kicks her in the head, punches her a few times, that's going over the fucking top. But if it's just reasonable force to get yourself out of the situation, whether it be a shove on an arse, shoving them up against the wall, restraining their arms, picking them up, whatever it is, I'm not against a man being able to do that. Jojo said at the moment, Roy's eating a steak sandwich. Right, so I'm getting more context here. Irish Flame said he was driving a car. He was behind the wheel. She hit him and he'd done some road thing and hit her back and he spoke to her dad after it or something. Right. So basically what the trolls have done is discredited that man, slandered him over the internet over something that's quite reasonable, right? Because she could have killed him by hitting him while he was driving. She literally could have killed him. And I think anybody in that situation probably wasn't thinking straight because your stress levels would have gone through the fucking roof. Yeah, I agree with you, James. It's disgusting. Yeah, people class a push as a full-blown fury attack. I know, it's mental. It's mental. Listen, I'm a woman. I've seen enough women do shit to their partners that I think is absolutely disgusting. I'm not talking about the fucking casual fucking, I don't know, sort of like shove or something. I'm talking about, I've seen people do real bad stuff and their partners have just took it. And I've stopped being friends with them over it. Seriously. And I think, why the fuck is that man with her when she's doing all that? You know? Hitting them over the head with stilettos. Fucking punching them in the face. Smashing them over head with a fucking phone. Lots of things I've seen women do. And I've seen strange women do it as well. You know, when you're out shopping, you see a couple having an argument, you don't even know them. And don't get involved. Don't never get involved because they both turn on you. But you see it and, yeah. Mel said, Roy is a friend of mine, but Roy's favourite subject is Roy. Yeah, it is, isn't it, unfortunately. But never mind, bless him. My ex once hooked me outside of a vibe because I couldn't chin a bouncer. I pushed my ex, and that very bouncer she wanted me to fill in decked me. Unbelievable. Is that why she's your ex, Samph? Mark said, my mother was a violent woman. She used to fight men in the pubs. Yeah, mental abuse. Mental abuse is just as bad as physical. If you don't trust the person you're with, then leave them. I agree. But, you know, I have seen men, and this is what I mean. The same men that are having a go at Roy, yeah, just because they don't like him and not because they're being consistent, because there has to be balance, right? Right. So first of all, the first premise is no one should be hitting anyone. Then the second premise is if he has been shoved while driving, there's context to that, right? And you can imagine yourself in that situation. Your stress levels would go through the roof, and you probably would push someone back who's trying to punch you and stop you from driving. You probably have to park up or something to deal with it. And even then, you'd be nervous to start driving again in case they lose their temper and punch you again, wouldn't you? Let's be fair. Yeah? So there is context to it. It's not like they've tried to portray it. And yet, they're the very same people that sit there saying that they believe that the rights have been taken away from the men, yeah, and that there's domestic violence on men. Yeah, I don't blame you I don't blame you for being upset and not wanting to be with her no more, Anth. Oh my God, Irish Flame said he was on the motorway. You know? And that annoyed me as well. That really annoyed me. And I thought, no. There's no balanced thinking over here and I can't be bothered with it. UK Blue said 25 years married and didn't realise it was abusive until I left. Actually thought it was normal. Bloody hell. You know? I've seen insecure women and men mentally control their partner because of their own insecurities. It's disgusting. Yeah, but with that one wee man, I also think that sometimes they don't even know that they're part of the problem. So there was a stream I played the other day from the past. I'm not going to mention the names. Even though the man was out of order for what was alleged to have occurred, and there did seem to be some pictures of bruising and bloody feet and other stuff, there also was a level of culpability because of the insecurity and the manipulation that was going on. I mean, that was a perfect example of a toxic relationship. Perfect example. And whether you like the individuals involved or not, that's the truth. There was manipulation going on both sides, in my opinion. And then also physical violence. And even though it was the woman that ended up with the worst injuries, if you actually listen to that recording, you would hear that witnesses who were there said that there was a level of fighting on both sides. And the fights and arguments were down to insecurities. But when that happens, I think that the responsibility is on both people, because the person doesn't get insecure unless you've made them feel insecure, unless they've come out of a relationship beforehand already insecure. But if you know that about someone and you get with someone that's insecure, then try and reassure them and actually do it in a sensible way. But I think a lot of men don't understand that there are ways of dealing with it that can alleviate it. And actually, once the insecurities are past, you can build a relationship where you both do your own thing and you don't get bothered by it unless it's needlessly, if you know what I mean. It's just sad. All of it's just sad. I think one of the worst things I ever heard in my life, and I've heard it by two different women, very similar things that they did. Well, I had one woman friend years ago, about 20 years ago, I was friendly with her. I've not seen her since. She, her, her boyfriend cheated on her with this woman, and to get her revenge, she slept with the woman's boyfriend, even though she weren't physically attracted to him. She actually said to me, well, I got the last laugh when she was telling me about it. She went, see how she likes that. And I said to her, was you attracted to him? She said, no. I said, was he good looking? She said, no. I said, was he a nice person? She said, no. I said, the only person who's come out of that winning is the girl's boyfriend. It's the only person who's come out of that winning. You ain't won nothing. You just demeaned yourself. For what? You know? I don't get it. I don't understand that. And this is what I mean. My level of reasoning, people on here either deliberately are being disingenuous with my level of reasoning, or they're just not on my level. Irish Flame said Colleen Nolan done something similar to that. Yeah, but I can't understand that, Irish. Why would you sleep with somebody? For me, right, and this is why I think I get so annoyed with what I hear on here. For me, sex is sacred, okay? A sexual relationship is sacred. You know, it's meant to be committed. One person, one man, one woman. That's it. You know, I accept that there are other strains of relationships, like two women and two men, and that's their business. It ain't my business. I don't want to get involved. But, you know, that's just the way I look at it. And so when I hear all this fucking nonsense and stuff and everything else, and it's not that I think I'm better than people. This is what people don't understand. I accept that everybody's got their own different levels, right? And I accept that everybody sees things slightly differently, and that some people put up with things that other people don't put up with, and we've all got our different space boundaries, and we've all got our levels of privacy, and individuals are different. I get all that. I understand. All I'm saying is that that's what I believe. I'm not telling other people they have to believe it. This is where a lot of people get me wrong. They think because I'm saying what I believe, it must mean they've all got to do it. You know? Colleen Nolan became friends with the woman her husband had an affair on her with. Yeah, that's weird as well. During the friendship, she kept making comments to her that he would never have an affair on her. And Colleen said she began to feel that she was making out she was better than her. She said she invited her ex-husband round and slept with him. Yeah, but that was probably a motive all the way along. You know, just to get even. Thank you, Dean. But yeah, that was probably her motive all the way along, Colleen. That's the way I look at that. Because is it normal to want to get friendly with the woman that betrayed you with your husband, or the way? No, not betrayed you. Is it normal to get friendly with the woman that your husband or partner betrayed you with? No, it's not. And I've seen that a lot. Telling you, it happens a lot with youngsters. Yeah. And then he told her ex-missus, the friend, that he did cheat on her with her. Exactly. You can't be friendly with the mistakes. It's not normal. It's obsessive and possessive. That's what it is. It's obsessive. Yeah, that's what I think some of them think. They think, "Oh, keep your enemy closer," but it don't work like that. Tell you what else I've seen as well. Some women do, and I find it bizarre. They get friendly with they meet a bloke, find out that he's had ex-girlfriends, and they get friendly with the ex-girlfriends. I think that's weird and all. If you got kids, you've got to have some level of sociability if you're dropping kids off and stuff like that when you get involved with someone. So if you get involved with a man who's got kids and he has weekend access to the kids and you might be the one picking them up, okay, that's fine. Civility. But going out of your way to be friendly with them and the ex before that and the ex before that, no, that's fucking mental. That's perversion, that is. That's like wanting to find out the nitty gritties of what. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, everybody has curious questions. Everybody has curious questions and might ask their partner, "Oh, what was you like when you done this? Or did you enjoy that?" Or whatever. Right? Yeah, that's a little bit normal. Women do ask questions like that. But to go and get friendly with exes to the level of wanting to confide in them stuff, nah. And I've seen women that do that, it's weird. I even see one case, right, where that happened. And then when the person split up with that person, all of the exes banded together to go after him on Facebook and stuff. That's weird and all, isn't it? Crazy. And yet those women that are involved in it all will tell you that they're sane. They're not fucking sane. They've actually lost the fucking plot. Hi-Ho said, "This might sound strange, but I could possibly forgive a one-night stand, but an affair would be the end of a marriage." I think until you've been in that situation, you'd never know what you'd do. I don't know what I'd do. I've never been in that situation. I'd like to think, and I think, knowing myself, I'd be so angry that the relationship would be over there and then. And I think that's because I don't think I'd be able to. It would be too torturous for me to live with somebody that had betrayed me in that way. But I'm also mindful enough to know that in some very rare outlining cases, that if you truly love someone, it might be surmountable. But I don't know. I've never been in that position. I've never been in that position, lucky enough. Always. Let me give you your. So I don't know. And that's why I don't really judge. If people stay once it's happened to them and they're really making a good effort at building back their relationship and you can see that it's working, who are we to judge? But if it's a case of it just becomes toxic and abusive, it's better for them to just fucking leave. I don't think staying for the kids is an excuse. I don't think it is. I don't think it works. I think it's actually more traumatic for the kids. Hi Ho said, Irish, I think it's because an affair is based on feelings for each other rather than a one-off. I was watching some Princess Diana stuff the other day. I don't know why it keeps coming up in my live stream. God knows why. I'm not a royalist, right? I mean, I wouldn't want to get rid of the royal family, but I'm not a royalist. I'm not one of these that has to go and get the cup and the tea towel and the fucking... My nan was. I remember when Princess Diana and Prince Charles had their engagement. They announced their engagement and they were going to get married, and they had a big festival or whatever you want to call it up in Hyde Park. I remember going to that. We lost my granddad on the way back, right? On the way back from that, because we all had to go and get trains back. And in those days, they were the train doors. Remember the train doors that slammed, where you could bring the windows down as well and put your head out? Quite a few people died that way, didn't they? They stuck their head out as they went through tunnels, silly bastards. But, yeah, I remember coming back from Hyde Park that day, all the train lines were jam-packed. It was mental. And everyone was squeezed in like sardines. And my granddad was quite a big bloke. He was really tall, but he was also quite big. He was about 22 stone, 21 stone. He used to wear a trilby hat as well. Funny old bloke he was. And we lost him. We couldn't find him. We lost him. Probably because we was all rushing for the trains, and he thought, oh, I'll go at my own pace. So we all got on the train. Then we all had the problem of squeezing back off to go looking for him. We couldn't find him. Another train come, same problem, because it was masses of people. We all squeezed onto those trains, and that train. We got home. We got home late that evening. And when we get home, there he is, sitting by the fucking fire. How he managed to get home so quick, we don't know. He got home for us. Yeah. Yeah, it was around Hyde Park, yeah. That's where we went. CT said, I'm in 5 minutes behind. I'm in a similar situation with someone seeing someone else. So, are you the other person or the main person, CT? You don't have to say if you don't want to. Someone fell out under a train that day near Wimbledon. Yeah, that's right. Someone did, because we were worried. I'm not surprised though, because everybody was pushing everybody. Oh, it was awful. You think being on the trains packed now was bad, but it was worse because some of them were sort of like, there was some that were opening the doors and sort of like trying to have the door open, and the guard was coming along going, no, CT said, I'm the dumb one who made a mistake. Shit happens. Oh, sorry to hear that. That's sad. I fucking ignored the first three. What? Baz said, I hadn't looked at the table. Let's hope we can push on now. What table? I don't know what fucking table you're talking about, Baz. Right, so people are going to say, and I don't know where I get this idea from, but from gathering from talking to lots of people over the years, I kind of have this belief. I don't know if it's true. So anybody who says no, it's not true, I'm not arguing with you. But my belief is this: that when men cheat, there isn't so much of an emotional attachment, and for them, it's all about the sex and kind of ownership and their ego being rubbed. When women cheat, I think that it's because there's an emotional need lacking in their relationship in most cases, not all, in most cases, because it takes a bit of a time for a woman to actually, or this is what I used to believe. I don't know about today's world, because today's world, the rules have all changed. But most women need an emotional attachment and need to build up a certain amount of trust before they even would cheat, I do believe. But that's only me. I've got no experience. I don't know. I've got to make that disclaimer. I don't know. I can't. And I don't know if that's because, that's what women who have cheated want to use that excuse. I don't know. But, Mickey says, CT, I don't know what you're on about. Never blame yourself, though. Blacklist said, I always take my bike on the train. You should see the dirty looks I get. Blacklist, I don't mean to be a bit sarky, but what's that got to do with having an affair? Unless you're calling somebody a bike. Baz said, for me personally, if my missus has cheated, I don't think there's an excuse in the world I could forgive. That would be that. Okay, you caught up. I wondered why you said that randomly. Oh, you're still on the bit where the trains are packed. Yeah. Well done, Mark. Teresa said, I don't think I could cheat. Guilt would eat me alive. Only those that have been cheated on can say just how hard it hits them. CT said it was only talking, but still it's bad enough. Oh my God, your marriage is repairable or relationship is repairable if it was only talking, CT. Thank you, Marie. Oh, I said, where do people find these men? She's looking for a man. She wants a man. Mickey said, I could cheat with a fit girl if the family are millionaires. Oh, my God. Oh, but it was like flirty talking, so maybe not. No, I think it is still repairable. What you need to do is sit down and be honest with the person that you're with if you love them. Afghan said that Blacklist has random convos with himself. You know, I just think the world's changed though, isn't it? When it comes to cheating, apparently women are allowed to be slags now. You're not allowed to slut shame. I mean, not that you should ever shame anybody for their own personal business anyway, but you know, they can sleep with 200 fucking men and you're not supposed to say a dicky bird. Whereas, unfortunately, I have to hold my hands up. I wouldn't want one of my sons coming home with fucking Bonnie Blue. I'd be appalled. Although, if I'm truthful, I brought my kids up to be so dependent, they probably wouldn't worry too much what I thought about it. They'd probably say, well, it's my decision in life, Mum, and I'd probably have to go, yep. And then I'd have to wait and be the fucking safety net when it all goes fucking wrong. You know? I'm not Mickey. I'm easygoing. I'm never fuming. I take all in my stride, matey. Donna Maria says, yeah, but I'm happy with solitude. I never realised how much time I like a bit quiet, because I do like silence sometimes as well. You know, until recently. Although I was sitting up the other night, just sitting here, just having a coffee. Quietly, no telly on, no nothing, only the lights. Just having a bit of coffee, just thinking about stuff. And my fucking cat threw itself at the window and fucking scraped down the window. Frightened the fucking life out of me. Because a couple of days before, I'd been watching those horror films where people turn up at the windows and stuff. I thought I had one outside my window. I had to calm myself down. I had a fucking coffee went all over me. I had to calm myself down, and then I slowly walked to the fucking curtain. And I've done what everybody does, where I go, no, don't do it. You know, like when you see the fucking videos, right? And they're going towards the door and they're going to open the door and have a look. You think, no, don't open the door. Don't open the door. Don't move the curtain. Well, I did. It was my cat looking back at me. Yeah. That's when I realised that if somebody did ever break into my house or fucking do something, or a ghost turn up that was really evil, like a poltergeist or something, I'd probably end up dead, because I would actually go and fucking have a look. Funny, isn't it? You get fight or flight. You know. Hi Ho said, have you been through an empty nest syndrome, Jupiter? I did years ago. I found it so hard for a year or two. Now I love the peace. Not really. Not really. I've still got one that lives at home and another one that will be returning back soon. And where I've got 8 kids, intermittently I've had those kids return home. You know, like when they've had girlfriends and they've moved in with them, and then it's not worked out and they've split up, and then they come back home, then they get a new girlfriend, they move in with them, it's not worked out, they split up. Yeah, I've had all that for fucking years. Not that I mind. But now most of the older ones are settled. That's been a few years that they've all been settled. It's just the younger ones. Mickey said, I want 2 kids, me. I want 2 boys. Maria Moon, I was loving and laughing at Ron's streams recently regarding pond life. Who's that? Is that Ron's non-alliance channel? I haven't seen them. I'll have to go and have a look at them. I haven't seen him live. When were them lives put out? I have to have a look. UK Blue said, I just bought an e-bike and 3 days later got my hospital appointment. Sod's law. I won't be able to use it for 6 months. Okay, I need to check my mail then, Donna. I need to check it. So what's the time? Right. I've done nearly 2 hours. I'm going to go off now and I'll come back in a little while and on the Jupiter main channel. That is now my review channel. So I'll be back on the review channel and we'll have a look through some streams and stuff. And we'll look at that. All right, guys, I'm going to go off for half hour, make a cup of coffee, go eat, and then I'll be back on the main channel. Take care.